Welcome to Pathways to Peace, creating peace inside and around us with emotional intelligence, or EQ. With your host, Matt Perelstein. In every episode, we explore the art, science, and magic of EQ for peace, power, and purpose in life. You can find this show at www.eqforpeace.org and on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Now here's the host of Pathways to Peace, Matt Perelstein.
Hello, welcome back again. Hi. So today we are going to talk about emotional intelligence again and positive mental health, but we have been talking about it kind of from a more general level. I'm trying to go over conceptually through the first couple episodes of conceptually how it works and how we can work it kind of globally, actually. But now I want to get more specific and talk about how it can help you. All right. Emotional intelligence is about it's studying you and me and we, right? And all of us, which is great, which is fantastic. And that's a life changer, world changer kind of stuff. But I want to be more specific and talk about you in particular, or me in particular. We're going, there's inner peace that we're looking for ourselves. There's interpersonal peace between us. There's social peace among us. And then there's big peace. Maybe someday we can have global peace. But this part, I want to talk about me, just you, about you. We're going to just start with the first part and go inside and talk about how we can create some peace inside of ourselves by transforming our negative emotions into positives. Now, two things about that. First off, I'm not supposed to call them negative emotions because theoretically or conceptually, they're not negative. They're all good, right? They're all good emotions. And so I'm not supposed to call them negative. Some people get upset with me for doing that. But I think they're negative. They don't feel good. I call them negatives because they're negative. They don't feel good. So yes, we can learn from them. Yes, we need to deal with them. Yes, we very much need to deal with them and need to be able to make friends with them, master them, understand them, accept them, learn from them, all kinds of really good stuff. But they still don't feel good. So I'm calling them negative emotions. And most of us want to transform them and get more positives. And the second thing about that is that they are kind of the basis of everything, because it seems to me that positive mental health, one of the biggest skills of it is being able to deal with our negatives. We don't know how to deal with our negatives. I was just talking to a lady a little while ago. She said, I feel overwhelmed. I feel stressed. I'm getting down. I've been down lately, and I don't know how to get back up. So, right, that's what most of us want. So what I think we need is to be able to deal with our negatives so that we can transform them back up, so that we can make them into positives. I don't know what else to call it. 6 Seconds is is the leading trainer of EQ in the world. And they call them uncomfortable versus uncomfortable, or pleasant versus unpleasant emotions, whatever you want to call them. I'm calling them negative, positive. It works well for math. It works well for writing it. It works well for being able to graph it. If you go pleasant, unpleasant, it looks a little weird. But if you go negative, you got a graph, right? An XY graph like this. You can show that negative is below the line and it's coming back up. Anyway, I'm calling them negative. Deal with it. I mean, I'm just kidding. But they're not that negative, but they are. So let's go ahead and start PowerPoint, please. And I know some of you can't see this, so I will describe them to you. I kind of, one of my guests said, I never use a PowerPoint because people get kind of involved with the graphics and then they don't talk to you well. Well, I know I'm the opposite. I'm kind of depend on the PowerPoints, and so I'll read them to you. If you're seeing this on Facebook or LinkedIn or YouTube, then you can see them. Otherwise, you can't. And so I'll describe them to you, or you could go over to one of those and watch it again, maybe. So we're talking about positive mental health, emotional intelligence, transforming our negatives into positive using emotional intelligence. So I have some goals for this session. I'd like to help you be a little more literate, emotionally literate. Literacy is a big thing. That doesn't mean that you just can understand them, but it actually be able to use them in a sentence, use them in your life, use them in ways that work for you. I think a better term might be emotional mastery, although that's a little strong, but that's kind of what our goal of this whole thing is, to be able to master our emotions, whether they're good or bad, happy or sad, doesn't make any difference. We want to be able to manage them well. We need to, and there's steps to that, becoming aware of them first, accepting them, and then taking some action on those. So that's what I want for you to do. I'd like to give you some super practical tools for managing your inner world, basically how it works and specifically how it works. And then practice positive mental health, practice and share positive mental health. And then we'll talk a little bit more about the future of these podcasts. So we're basically going from sad to happy, from mad to glad. So emotional intelligence is the tools, the concepts, the language, the skills involved in our emotions. It's all stuff about our thoughts and our emotions, right? We need to understand how they work. Positive mental health is how do we put them to work? Okay, these are the basic skills, but what do I do with them? What are the strategies for making them work? And so that's what we're calling positive mental health. And of course, the goal of all of this is peace. So like I said, this is about studying you and me, and we're studying ourselves. We're looking at how we think, how we feel, what we think about what we think about what we feel, etc. And it helps us to understand ourselves and to manage ourselves better. And like I said, also today we're talking about ourselves. So I have a picture up on the screen of this guy. It's a statue. I just love this picture. It's just a guy standing there smiling. He actually reminds me of Bert from Mary Poppins, right? The chimney sweep. They're great. He's just very pleasant. It looks like him in his face, Dick Van Dyke. And he was a pretty happy camper. He's one of my role models for emotional intelligence. If you remember him, if you not, go back and watch Mary Poppins again. It's probably in my top 3 most favorite movies of all time. And I watch movies a lot of times in order to watch how the characters, how they do emotional intelligence well and how they do it really badly. And sometimes I'll take little videos of short little sections of it, and when something is really good or really bad, and to use them for an example, I should probably use some more in these podcasts. But again, so a lot of you can't see them. So that's tricky. But anyway, it's a guy just looking pleasant. He looks calm. He looks solid. He looks pleasant, like peaceful. That's what I like to imagine of peace. One thing for you would be to picture a time, imagine a time when you did feel peaceful. When did you feel peaceful? Because what we found is, in order to create, this is kind of like right? In order to create peace in our lives, it's really, really helpful to be able to pull up a time or to have some vision or picture or feeling of what you're going for, right? It's a lot easier to get a goal if you know what the goal is, right? Right? But you can't, people don't do that. So we go take the positive feelings and imagine them, or pull it up in your mind. Sometimes you just can imagine it because you don't have it. Sometimes you should have some memories of positive emotions and inner peace when you felt really, really peaceful. And if you can kind of make that as your goal, make that as your picture. It's like doing a vision board or having pictures on your refrigerator of what you'd like to look like, but you don't, or a vacation or a place you want to go, that kind of thing. So you get it in your mind and in your heart to have it as a goal for yourself. So same thing with inner peace. When did you feel really, really peaceful? When? Who were you with? What was happening? That kind of thing. Kind of take a snapshot of that, put it in your mind, and then you go, okay, I can return to that. I can go back to that if I have some place to start from, right? Just a little reminder that inner peace begins the moment you choose not to allow another person or event to control your emotions. They can affect your emotions. Stuff outside of us affects us, but we try not to make it control us, because then we become a victim. And I don't like being a victim. I don't like it, not one bit. I want to be in control of my life. I'm a control freak in that department. I want to have choices. I want to have the power, and I want to be in control of what's going on inside of me. I don't have all that much control about stuff that's going on outside of me, but I have a ton of control about what's going on inside of me. And that is a very big deal. So again, specifically, check out a time when you did feel inner peace. Specifically, like, are you feeling pretty peaceful right now? Do you have, maybe rate yourself if you like. You could put it in a comment, or you can just imagine it, but on like 1 to 10, how peaceful do you feel right now? How peaceful do you feel right now? Okay. So just pick a number where you're at. And so then more generally, how peaceful do you feel in general? Maybe not right this minute, but like today or yesterday or this week or this month, how peaceful do you feel? Are you getting more peaceful or less peaceful? I personally am getting less peaceful. I'm afraid. I'm working on it, but there's a lot of bad stuff happening, and it's not peace stuff. It's not peaceful. There's so many bad things happening, it seems like to me. And it seems like to me that the more I realized the other day, and it did make me feel more peaceful and happier, is that the more yucky stuff that's happening outside of us, the more important it is for us to be able to manage ourselves inside. The EQ makes EQ and positive mental health even more important the more bad stuff that's happening outside. And it's true. And it made me feel a lot better, actually, when I realized that. I was like, God dang, I don't know. I'm concerned about teaching this stuff. And when things are going really badly, what do I do with that? And that's the answer. That's how I answered myself, was you need to teach it more. It's more important, not less important. It's more important when there's bad stuff happening. So that's, here we are. Here we are. And then I signed up for 10 more episodes, 10 more podcasts, and I'm calling it season 2. And I just signed up for them yesterday, and I'm excited about that. And I am committed to them yesterday. And so I want to get even deeper. I want to get season 1, if you will, this last 10, this is the 10th episode, have been, like I said, more general. And in season 2, I want to get more specific and go into depth on what do we do? What do we do? So positive mental health, again, is about us dealing with our negatives so that we can have more positives. We have to be able to deal with our negatives. This slide says, to be the best, you must be able to handle the worst. Well, I don't a lot of times don't care unless we're in competition or sports or something. I don't have to be the best, but I do want to be my best. I don't, right? Just check that out. I thought of that the other day too, is that sometimes I watch a lot of sports and I'm excited about that. That's cool. And they want to be the best in order, right? It's win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. And you have to be the best. I don't care that much about being the best, because most of the time I don't have anything to compare it to. I don't care if I'm better at it than you are. I only care that I'm better at it than I was yesterday. So I want to be my best. And so in order to handle my best, I need to handle my worst also. I've got to be honest with myself. I've got to deal with my negative emotions, and I've got to be able to transform things when it's not going well inside, and to better, to make it better inside. So our goals of mental health, our positive mental health, are about peace, about peace. The steps to it are about awareness, acceptance, and action, or no action. I guess I'm getting kind of general here, and I promised to be more specific. So I'm concerned about some of these slides, but we got to be aware first. So please be specifically, please be aware of yourself. Be more aware of yourself. What's going on inside of you? What is going on inside of you? I talked to someone the other day and they said they had no idea how to deal with their feelings. No idea. And this is a smart fella, right? A very smart fella. And it just hit him that he's like, I've never talked about him before. Nobody talks to me about him. My parents didn't talk about him. My kids don't talk about him. I don't read about him. I don't know anything about him. I'm in a men's group, a support group. And he was like, I don't have any idea how to deal with my emotions. What do I do? And I was like, well, you got to, like, first, congratulations for noticing that. That's awareness in itself. And second, you got to be aware of yourself. You got to be aware of yourself first. And a lot of times that's just about, sometimes the joke about it is shut your mouth, then shut your eyes, and go inside and see what's going on, see what you're feeling, see what's going on, get some awareness. We can't do anything unless we're aware, unless and until we're aware, right? We can't do anything unless we're aware of it. So first off, just be aware of yourself and what's going on inside of you. So it takes some time. Sometimes it takes some brain cycles, if you will. You need to focus on it a little bit and take a few minutes. One of my favorite things, I was going to grab one of my journals here. I journal like crazy. I have these little notebooks, and we actually created our own little notebooks just recently in our nonprofit. We just made some for the kids. They're really, really cool. Showing them on the screen right now. But this is just a little book that can change a kid's life, because he can get started exploring your inner world. It costs very, very little for you to grab a piece of paper and pencil or start typing. Just, start typing. Or one thing that I've been using lately on my phone is voice recorder. It's on my phone. It's a free app on our phone, voice recorder. And I just hit that baby and I start talking to myself, or to maybe someday somebody will listen to it, but probably not. But it feels good. It feels it feels good to be talking out loud when I can express myself, when I put my inner stuff that's going on inside, my thoughts and my feelings, into words and put them into a sentence. Whether it makes sense or not doesn't really matter, but by expressing it outside of me, it really helps. I've just been like, this is great. I wish I'd have done this a long time ago. I write. I've got like 90 of these full of my writings. Here's my little 3-year-old granddaughter has Melody, who she wrote her name right there, and she scribbled, and so she's learning how to write. But here's my writing. Anyway, it's really helpful. So I highly recommend journaling or writing or expressing or singing, dancing, whatever you need to do to get more aware of yourself and to express some of this stuff out of you. Awareness, acceptance, and action, meaning becoming aware and then accept it. Please. If you're going to do one big shift, if this is as specific as you can get, one big shift, feelings are a good thing, not a bad thing. Feelings are a good thing, not a bad thing. If you can shift that inside of you, that can change everything all by itself. Because I know when I first made that shift, it was huge for me. It was huge. And I've seen people do that before, is to actually go, I call them EQers. We're EQers. It's an EQer means that it's somebody who accepts their feelings, that accept that if feelings are really important and that they're a good thing, not a bad thing, and that we do need to deal with them. So accept, accept what's going on outside, accept what's going on inside, accept your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, all that kind of stuff. You accept them first, then you can do something about them, right? As opposed to denying and lying and hiding and avoiding and all that kind of stuff. No, okay, I had a thought. Okay, I had a feeling. Okay. It just takes a second to accept, but it's super important. So become aware, then accept, and then what are you going to do now that you know and you are okay with it? What are you going to do? And that's take some action or no action or no action. And again, those put you in control of your life. Even if you decide not to act, that's you deciding not to act. If you don't do it, you don't yell at somebody, you don't blast them, you don't whatever, you don't express at that moment, you do express at that moment, that kind of thing. All those actions are yours, and that puts you in control of your life, and that's a beautiful thing. So awareness starts with identifying our feelings. Like I said, a lot of people don't have any idea what they're feeling. So what I have up on the screen right now is a wheel. It's called a Plutchik's. I think that's right. Plutchik's wheel, emotion wheel. It's on 6seconds.org. Go look it up. 6 seconds with the number 6seconds.org. They are the biggest EQ trainer, like I said, and they've got some great stuff on there. So go look up emotion wheel or wheel of emotions, I think it is. And it really helps to name it, to tame it. I call it name it to tame it, which means figure out what the heck you're feeling. And a lot of times that makes you feel better all by itself, all by yourself. It's just by going, oh, this feeling, what is this? Oh, this is embarrassment. Ooh, oh, or this is shame, or this is anxiety, right? Or sadness, right? Being able to identify what's going on inside of you a lot of times makes it feel a lot better all by itself, instead of this big, I'm in a bad mood, or these big generalizations. I'm stressed lately. I'm overwhelmed. What does that mean? Overwhelm is fear. By the way, overwhelm usually means I'm afraid I'm not going to get everything done. I'm afraid stuff's going to get out of control. I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to manage. Those are fear, and that becomes overwhelm. That's what we call it. But that, if you can be as specific as possible, be as specific as you can about what it is you're feeling, and then you go, okay, I'm afraid that I'm not going to handle my house payment, right? Or that kind of thing. And it's really bothering me. Okay. So that's fear, right? That's fear. And that's okay. And then you go, okay, am I going to be able to handle my house payment? It's not that I'm in a bad mood. It's not that I'm overwhelmed with all this kind of stuff. This is what I'm actually afraid of. And if I can manage that, I can make a plan for that or figure out some way of handling that, then it makes it make more sense. It makes it become more achievable, more manageable if you be as specific as you can. And you can be upset about a number of things at the same time. You can have a bunch of feelings at the same time. So it may not be just your house payment, right? It's this, and the housing price, and the food prices are going up like crazy, and the gas prices are ridiculous, and some of the other stuff in the United States. It's all of that. And so each one, I got to be able to deal with each one of those. And like I said, specific is more better. Specific is better than general. So try to be as specific as you can. Name it to tame it, I call it. This is what I got on the screen now is another picture of faces, like sad face, happy face, scared face, angry face, annoyed face, all that. And we use these with kids, but it works great for adults too. Maybe you don't need big fancy words. You just go, oh, there it is right there. I'm feeling annoyed right now, or I'm feeling scared right now, right? And that's what my face looks like. So also, when you ask yourself and other people, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? People will all usually answer with how they feel physically. But if you ask, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? And ask yourself that, what am I feeling right now? Not how am I feeling? What am I feeling right now? Then you start listing, okay, you can go back to the other chart or this one and go, okay, I'm feeling some fear. I'm feeling some sadness, okay, and I'm angry about stuff this going out of control, that kind of thing. So you can feel multiple things at the same time, and it really helps to be specific and ask yourself, how am I feeling? What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Sorry. It's really helpful to have a really good vocabulary of feeling words. There's a link on the screen of a website that has over 4,000, I think they're up to 5,000 now, words in the English language that are feeling-based words. Really helpful to be able to describe your experience, especially to yourself. Especially to yourself. What are you feeling specifically? And it also is helpful to be able to sum them up. Kind of sum them up. I'm not that smart, so I like to sum it up. And the big three negative emotions that we need to get good at are fear, anger, and sadness. Fear, anger, and sadness. The reality is, if we get good at dealing with our fear, our anger, and our sadness, if we can get really good at them, then they're just like not much that life can throw at us that we can't handle. So so I found it very useful, and a lot of people I work with find it very useful to go, so what is it? Fear, anger, or sadness, or some combination of those. And all this other fancy words don't really matter in a way. You can simplify it down to these three. The big three positives are joy, peace, and love. So how do I get there? How do I get from my fear to sadness to joy, depression into personal power? How do I get to joy, peace, and love? How do I get there? From fear, anger, and sadness? And that's the big question for yourself. And it can be done. So know that it can be done and that you can do it. You can do it. And that's the goal of what we're trying to do, is transform stuff inside of us. So it helps to know where we're going with this, right? Toward peace. We have thoughts and we have feelings. We're trying to balance the two. It's not that feelings are more important. They're not, in my opinion. And it's not that thoughts are more important, because they're not, in my opinion. We're trying to balance them. So what am I thinking? Ask yourself, what am I thinking? And what am I feeling? Those are different questions. You're going to get different answers, and you got to deal with both of them. You got to deal with both of them equally. They matter. Our thoughts often inform our our feelings. So check out your thoughts really carefully. In fact, if you are having big negative emotions, try to figure out what thoughts happened before that. What happened before that? What did I think in order to get me to feel this way, right? If I go, like the gas prices are out of control, right? That's a thought. That's a thought, which makes me feel afraid that I won't be able to go anywhere and do stuff. It makes me sad for other people. There's so many people now that can't go anywhere because it's $5 just to drive to town or whatever, and it's ridiculous. We have our kids live 30 miles away from us, and if it's in a one vehicle, it costs almost $100 to go there and back. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. And so we're not going. So people are not going, and they become more separated. And that's such a shame. And we're missing out on so many things because we can't afford it. So anyway, my thought is it's too much. My feeling is fear, sad, angry about how things are. I mean, I don't know who's making all this money. We used to get by fine on $2 a gallon, and now it's $5 or $6 a gallon. Where's that going? All right. Where's it going? And who's getting the advantage of that, which is trashing our lives? That makes me mad. That makes me mad. So it doesn't make me mad. I feel angry about that. It doesn't make me mad because I'm in charge of me, right? So I can't always control what's going on outside. A lot of stuff I can't control outside, but I can control what goes on inside. So I can be aware of my thoughts and how they affect my feelings. And then I can change my thoughts if they're not working well for me. The steps to it are thoughts, feelings, and actions. This is another graphic on the screen from 6 seconds. Thoughts, feelings, actions, they say, right? That's all we have to worry about. That's all we need. That's all we have, but it's also all we need, happy to say. So that's kind of cool. And all three of those are free, completely free. Managing those thoughts, feelings, and actions are mine. I created them. I can manage them. I can understand them. I can deal with them. I can be okay with them. And no one else can make me do anything. Nobody can make me think anything. Nobody can make me feel anything. And nobody can make me do anything without my permission. So that puts me in control of my life. That puts me, I'm the boss. I'm the boss. So I am getting really good. I'm trying to get good at my thoughts, feelings, and actions because they're mine. They're mine. And if I can manage them and do well with them, then I can do some great stuff. Right? So that's cool. That's cool. But I also think that there's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. It's not just our thoughts, feelings, actions. There are more steps to it than that. So let me explain. I got a slide up on the screen that says the 10 steps to making your life work with emotional intelligence. First off, stuff's outside of us. Stuff happens outside of us. Gas prices go up, food prices go up. People do what they do and they say what they say, and they, stuff happens, and it does, and it keeps on happening. That's all outside, right? That all happens. Next, I have a thought and a feeling about what happened. Well, guess what? Now it's inside. Now it's my problem. Now it's my problem. So that's good and bad. It's good and bad. Sometimes it is a problem. Sometimes, but the good news is that I'm in charge. I am in charge, because if I don't like what's going on inside of me, I can fix it. I can change it. I can adjust it. So I want to be in charge of me. That puts me in charge of me. But we start off with awareness. I have a thought and a feeling about what's happening there. It's my thought and my feeling about what's happening. I need to be aware of it first. So please be more aware of your thoughts and feelings, and know that they're different, and know that they need to be handled differently. But first, we got to be aware. Got to be aware first. Second is acceptance. Like I said, next thing is, okay, that's it. That's how long it takes. Okay, that I had a thought and a feeling. Okay. All right already. It's a thought or a feeling. I just had it. I may or may not like it. I don't have to like it. I can, there's, I mentor Doc Downing says, you can have acceptance without approval. We can have acceptance without approval, which means I can go, yeah, I had a thought. I don't like it. That was an awful thought, and I feel terrible about it. But I still can accept it. Because then I can do something about it. If you don't accept it, you can't do anything with it except for try to hide it or lie about it or deny it or that kind of stuff. Except, okay, all right, I had this thing. All right, that is how it is. So become aware, accept what's going on, and then we evaluate. We go, okay, did I like that? Is that working for me? Is this something I want to keep? I had a thought. Is that a good thought? I can have all kinds of thoughts that I don't care for. I can have thoughts that I do care for. I can have thoughts that I don't even agree with, right? Sometimes thoughts just jump in there and I don't even agree with it. I had thought, maybe this is like this. And I'm like, no, it isn't. No, it isn't. That isn't how it is at all. And then I can correct myself. That's pretty cool, right? So I can take this thought and I can adjust it. I call that spin it to win it. Spin it to win it. So name it to tame it first, and spin it to win it means you can adjust what you're thinking and feeling. You can adjust it. You can spin it. So first we evaluate what's going on. We aware, accept, evaluate, and then we can make some decisions on it. So did I like that thought? No, I'm going to change it to another thought. That's a decision, right? And an action, which is the next step. Or I can be going along like I'm driving and somebody cuts me off and I can go, God dang, that son of a gun, and blah, 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 and get all fired up. That was a thought and a feeling real quick. Or I can go, or I can become aware of that and I can adjust it. I can spin it and go, well, maybe that person's having a bad day. Maybe there's something going on for them that I have no idea about. Maybe I can be a little more understanding and graceful with this whole thing. Maybe I don't need to get all fired up because the other person doesn't give a damn. Here I am in my car all pissed off and like, they don't care, and they probably don't know, and they probably don't care. And so it's on me, right? That's totally on me. So I can then go, you know what? I think I'm going to adjust my thinking or my feeling or my energy. And so that I'm not all upset about it. Who wins on that deal? I do, first off, but others as well. And so we can become aware of and evaluate what's going on inside of us. We can make a decision on it, and then we can take some action or not, or not. So I could go and run the guy off the road, or get up and flip him off, or do all kinds of other yucky stuff that we do when we're upset with somebody, right? Like a lot of Americans do, sadly. And they then it's bad. Those are bad actions, right? Some people think that if you get upset, if somebody does something to you, you have to get them back. You have to do it back to them, or you have to get them back. That's a belief system, and that is may or may not be true. It may or may not be true. Hopefully that's not true. I believe it's not true. That we get to decide how we react. We get to decide how we react. So if we have a picture in our head that this is how my dad used to do it, or this is how guys do it, right? A lot of guys get all fired up, and then somebody does something to you, you gotta match them. Your energy's here, and they did something, and you got to go up and be aggressive with them. Well, that's one of the choices. But it ain't all the choices. That's just one choice. So it's very, very, very nice to know that I have choices about my actions. So based on my emotional intelligence, being aware of myself and accepting and managing myself. So awareness, acceptance, evaluation, decision, action or no action. And a set of those become my behaviors of who I am and what I become, or how I think, feel, act, say, do stuff that I do. And guess what? That's where my results come from. So you can also work this whole thing backwards. You can go, okay, here's what's happening. I got a lot of people upset with me right now, or I'm not doing very well at work, or I find myself eating like crazy. Why am I doing that? Right? So we can look at our results and go work it backwards. What was I thinking and feeling before I did this? What was going on inside of me? What kind of decisions did I make based on my thoughts and feelings to get me to do this action? So it's understanding ourselves is really helpful. Understanding ourselves and others, so you can work it backwards. Look at your results, and results are very telling. If you want to find out what's going on inside of you, look at what your results outside of you, and then go inside and go, wow, I see this thing happened a long time ago. It made me, I decided to do this, not it made me, sorry. I decided to do this, and therefore I'm doing this. Wow. Do I want to keep doing that, or do I want to spin it to win it? So this, in my opinion, puts us in control of our life. It is outside. Stuff happens outside. We bring it inside. We got to process it inside. And then it goes back outside with our actions and our behaviors and our results. That's back outside again. So in, out, in, right? Garbage in, garbage out. Not necessarily. It could be garbage in, and it could come out as very loving. It can come out great. You can adjust it. You can spin it. So something can go in bad. You work with it and process it properly, and it can come out good. So it doesn't not necessarily garbage in, garbage out. I'm gonna have to write that down because I never thought of that before, but it really is true. I'm in my day job, I'm computer dude, and we're computers. That's what they say, garbage in, garbage out. And that's not necessarily true with computers, and it's not necessarily true with emotions. So because we have the power to adjust things inside, and that's a beautiful thing. I cracked myself up. Anyway, so our inner world is our thoughts and feelings. Our outer world is our actions and results, in summary. Here's one thing, that this concept of something that I think is very, very useful. I find it very, very useful. We've been teaching workshops on emotional intelligence for 35 years or so. And this thing I came up with was about you, and you. It's kind of weird, but what it is there's a little you. Okay. Little you is you in the past, you from your childhood, all the way up to 5 minutes ago. It's just you in the past, right? Our past, we got to deal with our past sometimes. A lot of things happen in our past. We become who we are based on our past, all kinds of stuff, right? So there's this whole entity, which is you, but it's a little you, lowercase u, little you, I call it, because it may be you as a little kid, or it may be you 5 minutes ago, but it's still in the past. It's still in the past. Okay. Next is big U, capital U. That's you in the present. That's you in the present. That is where I have the power and control, is what do I do with me now, right? Well, one of the things that I do with me is that I help me, big U, deal with little you. Okay. Big me has to deal with the consequences of what I did in the past sometimes, often. It's hopefully not too negative, but it happens. And so big U's job is to help little you adjust things so that big U can be happy and free and peaceful and loving and joyous, right? So that's my goal for big me, big U. And I then by managing little u, I can do that. So big U learns about little u, like I said, become aware and accept and take some time to understand yourself. And I can transform, I can work with stuff that's happened to me in the past so that I can have a better present and future. Cool, right? That's big U. Next, there's another concept, is UU, I call it, which is 2 capital U's. And what that is my higher U, my third eye, my universal U, my higher power U. It's my knowing, my knowledge, my wisdom. It's what I know about me. So big W, the 2 big U's, are in charge. They are advising, they're not in charge, but they're advising and giving wisdom to me in the present, to capital U in the present. And me in the present is got to deal with a lot of times my stuff from my past. So anyway, I keep switching back from you to me, and it's hard to say it that way. But anyway, little u is you in the past. Big U is you in the present, where you have all the power. And you is you in your higher knowing, wise you, that you could take advice from and direction from. So I found that helpful to be able to identify the different areas and to be able to manage myself better. So, take it or leave it. I got a lot more on that I haven't talked about, but it's important. So some of the stuff that big U needs to do is to help little u heal. And a lot of times, I have pain from my past still. I have anger from my past still. I have sadness from stuff that's happened, or people that I've lost, or opportunities I've lost, or resentments. I have disappointments. I have stuff that I wish I would have done differently. I wish I would have done or wouldn't have done. I still have some of those. And so, so me in the present, I help myself, little u, heal. Let little you deal with and process some of those stuff, so I don't have to carry around all this pain inside of me, inside myself, inside my heart, inside my spirit, inside my body. It stays in there. Those negative emotions stay in there, and they affect us. And sometimes they affect us a lot. In fact, the last 2 episodes we did on ACEs, which are the adverse childhood experiences, and those are bad stuff that happened to us in the past, and they have scientifically shown over and over now that how powerful our negative emotions can be if we don't deal with them. Meaning that if we have a bunch of yucky stuff, trauma, even from our past, and we don't deal with it, it turns into really bad negative behaviors. It turns into really bad negative experiences for ourselves. And the worst maybe is that it turns into really bad physical problems. They've connected our emotions with our physical our emotions are connected to physical, and they've shown it over and over now, scientifically and medically, that if the higher chance, the more negative stuff you had as a child, the more likely you are to have severe negative problems as an adult, big problems. So who or what hurt you the most? Questions. Who hurt you? What are you angry at? And what are you most afraid of? The big three: fear, anger, sadness. You got to deal with all three of those. Then what did you decide about life as a result of your pain? What is keeping you from releasing your pain? And what do you want to redecide? What do you want to change? How do you want to spin it to make it work better for you? So those are some of the inner child processing questions, we call them, that we use in our workshops. And they're incredibly powerful, how much difference you can make inside of yourself by adjusting and dealing with and processing some of the emotions of big stuff that happened to you in the past. Doesn't have to be as a kid, but it helps. You go way back to the beginning. We do visualization and we help people go all the way back to the beginning and go, okay, let's go to like you were 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. What happened? When did you start shutting down? When did the pain start? When did you start getting angry? Who hurt you way back there? And it goes bah, 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 bah. Once you realize, once you deal with this stuff, it's like this domino effect that if you deal with this stuff from way back, it affects you now and in the future, and it's a fantastically wonderful thing. And you can do this by yourself for no cost whatsoever. And you can process yourself and deal with your own inner child work, we call it. So go back and see go back as far as you can. When you have a problem or a pain, go, when as a child did I feel similar to this? When as a child or when in my past did I feel similar to this? A lot of times what's happening now is the symptom of the problem. The real problem is that I never dealt with it way back there, and that one still bugs me. That one still gets me. That becomes a trigger and a pain point for me, and it's messing with me now. It's messing with me now, even though it happened when I was 3 or 5. Come on, right? We got to deal with this stuff. Not come on like you're broken, but come on, like I encourage you to deal with that, to really encourage you, because it turns into mental, physical, behavioral, and physical problems that are bad for your body. So transformational shifts, thoughts and beliefs. We have thoughts and beliefs on our left brain, we have feelings in our right brain, and then we have stuff in our body. So if we're going to shift things, we got to shift what we think about things, what we believe about ourselves and about life. A lot of times the pain that we were caused in our childhood, we decided that life is scary, or that I'm out of control, or I am powerless, or I don't fit in, or I'm not lovable, stuff like that. Those are huge negative generalizations that we created based on our pain from our past. They become what we call belief systems, which I like as a acronym. What's the acronym for belief systems? BS, right? It's BS. Which works really well, because we decided this as a little kid, and a lot of times we're still living on it, and we can change that. We don't have to keep living on that. We can do it different. So we can adjust even our big belief systems about our life, about the world, about how we fit in, about how men are, how women are, how I am as a person, how people are, that kind of thing. Those are big negative generalizations a lot of times, and we can shift them. We can work with them. We can find them, and we can change them. You can. Our feelings get stuck in our body. Sometimes we need to get them out of our body. Even severe trauma, it still was thoughts and feelings. There are thoughts and feelings about what's happening. How does this affect you? Well, you had a thought about it, a bunch of thoughts about it probably, and a bunch of really big feelings about it. Well, same idea, just bigger, right? It doesn't matter what the subject is. Trauma can be the simplest little thing, as it's just that it affected you a lot. It became a huge emotion. And so it's simple, but it's got big. It got really big. And so then it's trauma. So it could be a plane crash with 100 people died, or it can be that my teacher didn't didn't acknowledge me at one time that really hurt my feelings and made me think really negatively about itself, about me, right? It can be really severe, ugly story, or it can be a very minor story. It doesn't matter. It's only matters is how it affected you and how your thoughts and feelings got shifted as a result of it. So look at your thoughts about what's going on and see if you can adjust them so that they work better for you. So, if you can. So, man, I have a bunch more slides. I'm not gonna be able to get to them all. I'm afraid I'll have to come back to this later. Because we're running out of time. So, empathy for yourself. I'm gonna. There's one more hashtag that I want to go over, and that is, I mentioned name it to tame it. That's the big part of this whole thing, to start their awareness. Spin it to win it is adjusting, knowing that you can change your mind, you can change your thoughts, you can change your feelings. You can do all of that. You can do that. I don't think that most people, most kids in particular, but most people, adults, know that if you can take responsibility for your thoughts and your feelings, then you can change them. You can change them. We have the power to adjust. We have the power to heal. We have the power to do better. We have a lot more power than we ever thought. And so that is one of the biggest things that our nonprofit and I've been jumping up and down about for many years, is that you are in control of you. You get to decide, and you can adjust you. You can heal you. You can do better for yourself if you start doing some of this stuff. But just know that conceptually you can. That's a big deal in itself. That's a huge deal. And I've had people that change their life, just that sentence. Like, did you know that you can be smart about your thoughts and your feelings? They're like, really? Like, yes, really. Check it out. It's a whole study. You can study you can do better. And like, really? I mean, people are just like, wow, what a great idea. That makes me laugh, but it's if you've never heard it before, if you never thought that, if nobody ever taught you that before, which they probably didn't, then how are you supposed to know, right? How are you supposed to know? So you can change, you can heal. And the last one is, you feel it to heal it. Feel it to heal it, which means sometimes, a lot of times, the best way for us to deal with our feelings is to feel them. A lot of personal growth and psychology and fancy therapy and stuff talk about all kinds of ways to avoid what you're thinking, or to adjust things, or to how to analyze the heck out of them, and how the science works about it. Great. Okay. It's all very interesting. And one of the main ways of dealing with our feelings is to actually feel them. Shockingly enough, is that we can actually feel them. And that does wonders for our body. Our body is like, oh, thank you. I've been holding on to this since I was 3 years old, and I don't want to, I don't need to, and I don't care to, and it's trashing me. And it's because you haven't let me. Big U has never let me deal with this stuff. So sometimes you need to cry. Sometimes you need to scream. Sometimes you need to just let yourself feel what you feel, and your body will like, oh, thank you so much. It only takes a minute sometimes. But it's more about your awareness and acceptance of yourself, and changing that, like I said earlier, changing your belief system that says feelings are a bad thing, and to go, no, feelings are a good thing. I need to deal with these. They're okay. And one of the best ways to deal with them, there are other ways, but one of the best ways to deal with them is to actually feel them, even just for a minute. But man, oh man, your body will thank you for it later. All right. Next, I was going to take you through. I have a 7-question quiz for how to deal with our emotions and stuff. I'm not going to have time to do that right now. We don't react to people, events, or words. We react to what they mean to us. So check out what this means about you or to you when stuff happens. All right. And I'm going to sum up with three takeaways for this whole thing. And that is that awareness. All right. Awareness of yourself, awareness of what's going on, that you are okay with what's happening inside and around you. And secondly is that you teach yourself, allow yourself, give yourself some time to identify and become aware of and deal with your thoughts and emotions. A lot of times we don't take any time to do that. And I really strongly suggest that you do. And then share it with other people, because most people don't know. Like I said, you can ask people. I ask people all the time, have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? And they're like, probably half the people are like, nope. No idea what you're talking about. I asked my doctor the other day, have you ever heard of emotional intelligence? My doctor. And he's like, nope. I said, bedside manners, soft skills. Oh yeah. Okay. Patient interaction, that kind of thing. Okay. Yeah. Emotional intelligence. You understand what's going on for you. You understand what's going on for other people. You can be smart about it. You can help. And people don't know that. You can do better, and and other people care about what they're thinking and feeling, and you can change it. If it's not working for you. So please share that with other people. But the biggest thing here is it all starts with emotional responsibility, I call it. And that is the ownership that your thoughts, your feelings are yours. They're yours. And you can do stuff with them. So I'm sorry to be running out of time. Luckily, I've got more podcasts to do. I hope you come back and join me for later ones, and I'll do better. I'll do better. I have so much I want to tell you. So much. I got so much I want to say, but I don't have time to do it all. So I'll keep going. So take care. Let yourself feel. Understand yourself. Give yourself a break. Empathy, self-empathy is a huge part of this whole thing, and see if you can notice your negative emotions and adjust them and spin it to win it, and adjust them into positives on purpose by yourself. No charge. Okay. See ya.
You've been listening to Pathways to Peace, creating peace inside and around us with emotional intelligence, EQ, with your host, Matt Perlstein. Thank you for your positive reviews, comments, and sharing this show with others. You can catch prior episodes at www.eqforpeace.org and on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and more.